When the fighters won't fight, the divine art of standing alone. You know what nobody tells you about being the only one in the room willing to fight for yourself? That sometimes the loneliest part isn't the absence of allies, it's realizing the people who promised to show up never intended to in the first place. I recently had the profound honor of sitting down with B. Kelley, a voice that refuses to be silenced, a soul committed to making this world more just, more honest, more livable for those of us navigating spaces that were never designed with our survival in mind. B. Kelley's work centers on dismantling the lies we've been told about strength, about isolation, about what it means to advocate for yourself when the cavalry isn't coming. And let me tell you, the cavalry is not coming. So today I want to talk about something that doesn't get enough airtime in our conversations about empowerment, especially for Black women who've been taught that softness is weakness and that asking for help is failure. I want to talk about what happens when the fighters won't fight, when the systems built to protect you protect everyone but you, when the allies you thought had your back were really just standing behind you to watch you fall. Let's start here. Madame C.J. Walker, born Sarah Breedlove in 1867, Louisiana, orphaned young, widowed at 20 with a daughter to raise and a scalp disease that left her hair falling out in clumps. Imagine that for a moment. You're a Black woman in post slavery America. You're alone, you're broke, your body is betraying you, and the beauty industry doesn't see you, doesn't want to see you. White owned companies ignored Black women's needs entirely. And even within her own community, folks doubted her. Her husbands dismissed her ambitions. Peers called her foolish. She had every reason to sit down, to accept the script handed to her, to believe that her pain didn't matter because no one was coming to ease it. But here's what Madam Walker understood, what B. Kelley reminded me of in our conversation. Self advocacy is not a backup plan, it is your divine right. It is the first plan, the only plan, the plan that doesn't require permission slips or cosigners. So she taught herself chemistry. She mixed her own formulas in a wash tub. She built a door to door sales army of Black women who became entrepreneurs in their own right, 40,000 strong. 40,000. Think about that. She didn't wait for the industry to open its doors. She built her own mansion, literally a lavish estate in Irvington that screamed Black excellence when the world was still trying to whisper our invisibility. And when President Taft's administration refused to address the lynching epidemic, when the so called leaders stayed silent, Madam Walker showed up anyway. She confronted power without an invitation, funded the NAACP's anti lynching campaigns, and proved that solitary advocacy doesn't just survive, it builds legacies. In 1917, she hosted the first National Convention of Black Women Business Owners. The first, she created a space where women who looked like her, who had been told they were nothing, could gather and claim their power. She didn't wait for validation, she didn't wait for permission. She built a table and invited everyone who'd been left standing outside. That's the first truth B. Kelley wants us to hold. Self advocacy is your divine right. Even when allies fail, stand unyielding in your truth. Now, let's talk about Shirley Chisholm. Unbought and unbossed. You know that phrase, right? It's iconic now, but in 1972, when Shirley Chisholm, the first Black woman in Congress, decided to run for president, that phrase was a battle cry born out of betrayal. The Democratic Party bosses who had promised support, they withdrew their endorsements. The media dismissed her as unserious. Even Black male leaders, men who should have understood the weight of what she was carrying, sidelined her, Jesse Jackson among them. She was supposed to be the future, but the present wouldn't make room. Shirley Chisholm rose from teacher to assemblywoman, navigating redistricting sabotage by her own party. When she announced her presidential run, the promises evaporated. The backing she'd been guaranteed, gone. She faced assassination threats. She faced underfunding. She faced a political establishment that would rather see her disappear than disrupt their carefully controlled narrative. So, what did she do? She self funded her campaign with grassroots volunteers. She sued to get into the debates. She won primaries in New Jersey and Mississippi, captured 28 delegates, and forced the entire political establishment to reckon with the fact that a Black woman could demand a seat at the table without waiting to be invited. She co founded the Congressional Black Caucus. Even as some members hesitated to back her presidential run, Shirley Chisholm stood alone, and in doing so, she redefined what political leadership could look like for women of color. She gave us permission to run, to fight, to claim power on our own terms. She proved that when the party won't back you, when the movement won't support you, when the men who should understand won't stand with you, you stand anyway. And here's what B. Kelley emphasized in our time together, what Shirley Chisholm embodied in every speech, every debate, every moment she refused to shrink. Isolation amplifies your voice. When you're the only one willing to speak, your words carry the weight of every silence that came before. Solitude isn't a weakness, it's sovereign power for Black professionals forging paths alone. But let's get real for a second. Let's talk about what happens when the betrayal isn't political, when it's personal, when it's the people you love, the people you trusted, the people who were supposed to protect you. B. Kelley shared a story with me that I haven't been able to shake. A story about being targeted in their own home by someone they once called their high school sweetheart, their best friend. A story about violence that should have been met with intervention, with justice, with the basic human decency of protection. But when the police arrived, they didn't see a victim. They saw a Black man. And because of that, because of the way B.E. Kelley looked, the officers refused to help. They stood there, duty bound protectors in theory, and did nothing. Let that sit with you for a moment. The people who were supposed to fight the institution designed to serve and protect looked at B. Kelley and decided that survival wasn't worth their effort. The betrayal was double edged, intimate, and institutional. The person who should have loved them brought violence. The system that should have intervened brought indifference. This isn't an anomaly. This is the reality for so many Black men, so many Black people who call for help and are met with suspicion instead of support, who are seen as threats instead of victims, who are abandoned by the very systems that claim to exist for their protection. And yet, B.E. Kelley is here, survived, unbroken, wielding that story not as a wound to hide, but as a weapon to dismantle the lies we've been told about who deserves protection, who deserves justice, who deserves to be believed. This is the third truth, the one that B. Kelley lives and breathes, unyielding persistence births legacy. The ancestors' fire within demands you claim what's yours without apology. Because here's the thing, when the fighters won't fight, when the allies abandon you, when the systems fail, and the people you trusted turn their backs, you have two choices. You can internalize that abandonment, let it convince you that you were never worth defending in the first place, or you can rise as your own unbreakable advocate. And I know that sounds exhausting. It is exhausting. You didn't sign up to be your own lawyer, your own bodyguard, your own PR team, your own everything. You wanted to rest. You wanted to be soft. You wanted someone else to carry the weight for once. But softness, real softness, the kind we talk about here on Soft Girl Era, isn't about waiting for the world to be gentle with you. It's about being gentle with yourself, even when the world is brutal. It's about protecting your peace so fiercely that no one, not the systems, not the betrayers, not even the silence, can steal it from you. So, what does that look like practically? What does it mean to rise as your own advocate when support falters? It means documentation. Every injustice, every moment of neglect, every broken promise. You write it down. You create a record that can't be gaslit away. Mm. You build evidence that your experience is real, that your pain is valid, that your fight is justified. It means rallying your inner divine voice, that part of you that knows, that has always known. You are worthy of protection, of justice, of love, even when the world refuses to offer it. It means sitting in silence and listening to that voice when every external voice tells you to shrink, to settle, to accept less than you deserve. It means pursuing justice through personal networks when institutions fail you. It means legal self filing when you can't afford representation. It means public testimony when silence feels safer, but truth demands a stage. It means finding the people who will show up, even if they're not the ones you expected, even if you have to search harder and wait longer than you thought you'd have to. It means never ever waiting for absent fighters to show up, because they won't. And you, beloved, you are too precious to waste your life in that waiting room. Madame Walker didn't wait. She built an empire from a washtub, trained 40,000 women, shattered every barrier the beauty industry erected, and left a legacy that still echoes today. Every Black woman entrepreneur who launches a business, who creates her own opportunity, who refuses to accept the limitations placed on her, walks in the path Madame Walker carved. Shirley Chisholm didn't wait. She ran for president with a grassroots army and a lawsuit, captured delegates, forced a reckoning, and opened doors for every woman of color who now dares to run for office, to lead without permission, to claim power on her own terms. B. Kelley didn't wait. They survived betrayal, turned trauma into testimony, and now use their voice to empower others who stand alone, who face systems that fail them, who need to know they're not crazy for feeling abandoned, and neither can you. I want you to feel something right now. I want you to feel empowered as a vessel of the divine. I want you to feel fierce and unalone in spirit, even if you're the only one in the room. I want you to rise with holy fire and claim your throne, not because it was handed to you, but because you built it with your own hands, your own voice, your own unyielding refusal to disappear. The fighters won't always fight, the allies won't always show. The systems will fail you more often than they'll serve you. But you are not defined by their absence. You are defined by your presence, by your persistence, by the divine right you carry to advocate for yourself without apology, without explanation, without waiting for permission. So here's what I need you to do. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, right now. The next time you find yourself standing alone, document it. Write down what happened, who failed to show, what you needed and didn't receive. Create a record that validates your experience and prepares you for the next step. Rally your inner voice. Sit in stillness and listen to what your spirit is telling you. Trust that voice more than you trust the voices that have let you down. Pursue justice on your own terms. If the institution won't help, find another path. Legal self filing, community organizing, public testimony, personal networks, whatever it takes, do not wait for systems that have already shown you who they are. And most importantly, remember who you are. You are the descendant of people who survived the unsurvivable. The ancestors' fire runs through your veins. Your voice, your story, your refusal to be silenced is the legacy they fought for. Stand unyielding in your truth. Let isolation amplify your voice. Let persistence birth your legacy. Because when the fighters won't fight, you become the fighter. And you were born for this.